Pete Davidson is a creepy looking man. If I saw him just walking down the street, he always looked like he up to no good.
Yeah,
man.
he
like lurching.
This gangly body where he just kind of lurching.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he got
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In his mouth. You got a real catfish situation going on in
got
the mouth
that,
region.
what you call it? Steve Tyler mouth.
Oh, yeah. Dude, look like a lady.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Cinecism. I'm Eric.
It's your boy Dante, man, and today we're going to be doing a review on the King of Staten Island.
The King of Staten Island stars Pete Davidson. Marissa Tomei is in there as well. Bill Burr. What other big names were in there? That wasn't somebody else in there that was like unexpected? Or am I tripping? Steve Buscemi was in there too.
Steve Buscemi.
Basically,
it was nobody else. Okay,
no, bro.
Okay, I had to double check. Just want to give you the opportunity.
You look shook. It was nobody else.
Right.
Basically, the movie stars Pete Davidson as Scott. He plays an early 20s young man living with his mom still and his younger sister, who eventually moves on to college. In his adult life, he's still kind of coping with the loss of his father, who was a firefighter. He died like saving people in a fire. And he has other issues as well. Like he's got like ADD, just emotional trauma and mental issues.
Yeah.
He's kind of like, I guess, a late bloomer.
Yeah, it's definitely some arrested development going on there for sure. I don't think he graduated high school, but it seems like in his adulthood, he's kind of in limbo. He don't quite know where he fits in or what he wants to do with his life. He has ideas of what he wants to do, but he's not fully committing to anything. Like he likes art, but he's not fully going in on art. He likes tattooing, but he's hot garbage.
I guess I've been there before, but not to the extent that he's there, I guess. In your early 20s, you're trying to figure things out.
Absolutely.
Comes a certain point where you have to like actually do something. He's not even working.
No. He's not.
He hangs with this group of friends who are pretty much not doing anything either, for the most part. He has a girl. Well, it's not really his girl. It's his friend that he doesn't really want to commit to because of his issues. She's actually one of the few people within their circle that is trying to like better herself.
She seems self-motivated. She has a career plan. She knows what she wants to do, and she's going after it. Like she's actually executing her goals. That's pretty common. I mean,
it is. I've been in groups like that too, and it's like you come to the point where you just want better.
Yeah, absolutely. But they're a cool little group, man. They always joking on each other. I think one of them sell drugs or something, like he said.
Oh yeah, Xanax,
Yeah. They just be kind of hanging around, playing video games, smoking weed, you know.
They some fucking bombs.
Yeah.
Basically.
That's a much harsher. Well, that's accurate.
Yeah. I
mean. Never mind. They bums like a motherfucker.
The movie really starts to take off after Scott attempts to tattoo a young boy in a park. His father catches wind of it, who's played by Bill Burr. He plays Ray in this movie. He goes to confront Scott after finding out he tried to tattoo his boy. He left like a mark on his arm. He ends up meeting Scott's mom instead, played by Marissa Tomei.
Ray starts to date Scott's mom. Scott, of course, after everything that happened with their interaction where he kind of snapped on him, he's not his biggest fan. And also, he's used to things being a certain way. Since his father's death, which has been 17 years, his mom has not dated anyone. Then Ray is also a fireman. Just all of that in itself is kind of bringing up a lot of hurt, a lot of his unresolved issues with his father's death. Ray starts to kind of move into his mom's life more. In doing so, I think as a result of that, his mom starts to wake up to like, oh yeah, this nigga old and he ain't doing nothing and maybe he should be out on his own and not in my house.
She's kind of been enabling him all of these years.
Exactly.
So, I mean, she wants to live her life.
Yeah,
right? She's not getting any younger, so she wants to experience love and building relationships again too. So, you know. All right, so let's talk about Scott, played by Pete Davidson. I actually really enjoy him in this. I haven't seen him in a lot of movies. I know he plays on like Saturday Night Live. I actually really enjoyed him in this. He was a very compelling character. He's like kind of a jokester. He makes light of serious situations, being cynical or sarcastic about them. But he also had a lot of moments where he was very open and vulnerable. And
he held his own, I think, in this movie, man, and really made you empathize and like his character, even though he was a flawed character. Even in his imperfection, you still kind of rooted for him because you could tell he had a good heart. He's just one of them people that was kind of stuck. The loss of his father seemed to really impact his life in a lot of ways. He was funny as hell, man. He had sensitive moments too, both of which he did really well. I laughed when I was supposed to, and you know, I was really moved when I was supposed to as well.
You got Ray, played by Bill Burr. Their interactions were crazy.
Stepdad trying to ruin my life type situation.
Yeah, but it was done. I felt like it was done well.
Exactly.
You know, this is one of the better movies when I seen a situation like this play out.
I was buying it the whole time. I was like, I see where the issue's coming from. I see both sides of this.
Yeah, especially that mustache.
Oh my God.
If I seen a dude come around my mom with that mustache, like, mom, he gotta go.
What's that movie? If There Will Be Blood?
I hate that style of mustache, bro. It's just too much.
Yeah.
Like, what's all of this?
What's on the side here? How your mustache got sideburns? Like, what the fuck? You look ridiculous.
Right. They had a lot of like heartfelt moments too, closer to the end of the movie.
They did.
I really like their dynamic.
Me too, man. This movie wouldn't have worked without a good Ray character. Once the movie kind of gets started, they're the people that kind of interact the most. They have a lot of one-on-one time. He was like a regular guy, like a working dude, very honest. He was divorced. He had 2 kids. When we first introduced to Ray, of course, you see none of those qualities because he is snap. Like when I say snapping, and I understand like his son got tattooed, but what I'm saying is that once somebody has apologized and admitted wrongdoing,
especially if they not responsible. You can't be responsible for another adult doing some shit. I don't care if they're your kid or not.
Exactly. It was his mom, and he like going in on her at the doorway. What type of monster are you raising? And where were you? It's just like, yo, this is a grown man.
Right.
But beyond that, he came back, and that's when you start to really see who Ray was.
Yeah, he became very likable.
He apologized, man, which is not easy to do. He came back to the house. He apologized. He admitted wrongdoing. And then from that moment on, they kind of start seeing each other.
Then you got Scott's mom. She's got a good heart. Her heart is in the right place. Of course, she cares dearly about her children. She has a very close relationship with her daughter. She tries to be supportive, but at the same time, it comes to a point where she's overly supportive, and that's how Scott ends up where he is now at the start of the movie, where he just failing to progress in life.
She was an interesting character because I didn't love or hate her.
Yeah.
Some of the actions that she did, I felt like was justified, and then some of the stuff, I was just like, all right, well, that's a little funny. He tried to come back and the house, and it's like she clowned him. How you go from one extreme to the next? You went from completely coddling him, now he done moved out, or you done kicked him out, and you just clowning him and putting him out on the street and not asking about his well-being. It's like she was having a hard time finding a medium. But what I will say is that I think she had not been allowed to live her life for so long that she probably
that felt good, I'm sure.
Yeah, she was probably just over it at that point, which I completely understand.
I mean, as we can talk about the sister very briefly. Scott's sister, played by Maude Apatow.
Yeah.
She was cool. She was very supportive of her brother. She wanted the best for him. You can tell she cared about him a lot. And she was just trying to provide him some kind of direction. I feel like he took some of it in, but his responses didn't make it appear that way.
His interactions with his sisters when he appeared to be more of an asshole. She was really opening up and being vulnerable to him about her concerns.
You can see the desperation in her face when she would talk to him.
Yo, she was really like, yo, are you going to be okay? You going to be all right? I'm worried about you. He was making jokes, cracking jokes and shit. She was going away to college. He was pretty much opting to watch an episode of SpongeBob instead of go outside and see her off.
Hey, it was a good episode of SpongeBob, though. That's one of the. It was the episode where his breath stank, and he kept trying to approach people, and he thought he was ugly, but his breath was actually bad. Did you ever see that episode? Yo,
I did. No, that was a good episode.
I really liked her character.
I liked her too, man. We can talk about his homegirl.
Kelsey is a girl that is part of his circle of friends, but they're also having sexual relations unbeknownst to the rest of the friends. But anyways,
after school special.
Let's talk about sex. Right. They're kind of having a secretive relationship. He's trying to keep it on the low because he doesn't want the responsibility that comes with it, and
at first, I thought it was because he was ashamed of her in some way.
Yeah.
But then when he spoke to it, I was like,
it made sense.
It's actually a really good response. I'm damaged and not ready for a relationship.
That's fair. But at the same time, it's like, well, if you feel that way, you got to cut it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Because otherwise, you're just playing with somebody emotionally.
Exactly. You shouldn't be having sex with somebody if you feel that way. You shouldn't say, well, I'll have sex with you, but I don't want to commit to you because I'm scared that I might hurt you. It's like, bro.
I mean, unless you go into it with that mutual feeling. Like some
which
people.
Is not what
but it wasn't the case here.
No. I agree.
She already had.
If that's discussed beforehand, then so be it. I liked her too, man.
I liked her too, man.
She was really nice. She was also a good character for him. She seemed to really care about him, and because she had known him for so long, I think she kind of knows how he is, has accepted him for that, and really loved him for that.
I mean, we can mention Steve Buscemi. He wasn't a big character in the movie, but I feel like the scenes that he was in, he had some heartfelt moments that added to the movie.
Steve Buscemi, who you told me is actually a fireman in real life, which I had no idea.
Yeah.
But he plays
like a hero, bro.
That's crazy. I never knew, as long as I've been aware of him, I've never known that about him, which is excellent. That's fantastic. He plays a fireman in this movie. He's kind of like a veteran fireman, one of the older OGs. He knew Scott's dad, so he was able to speak to just his character. It seems pretty unanimous that his dad was a great guy, and more than that, he was a great fireman. Scott kind of mentioned that his mom had always told him these stories about his dad, but not really humanizing him in that way. So they telling him stories about his dad doing coke, wilding.
Yeah, and I felt like that's what made his character so important in this movie. Even though he didn't have a big role, that aspect alone, it played like a big part, helping Scott to see or to learn more about his father.
I don't know, just his demeanor. He seemed to have this understanding of, because Scott, especially when he first got kicked out and moved into the fire station, was kind of like wilding a little bit, or at least a little abrasive, and clearly you could tell he was a little aggressive and harboring some hurt, especially around the firemen. I think that was a sensitive area for him. Steve Buscemi just always seemed to approach him with this sensitivity and like this understanding, like, okay, I see.
Yeah, just this maturity and wisdom to his character.
Yeah, I always say that about being an older person in somebody's life. It's like they have the liberty to wild out, but as an elder, you have to take a step back and really kind of approach the situation with more of a bigger picture scope, add some context and understanding to it. As somebody who knows and has lived through more, you should be able to speak to stuff outside of the emotional elements.
So key moments. One of my favorite parts of this movie were probably the scenes Scott had with the kids. You have to know more about Scott's character. You really come to understand that he's not exactly what he appears to be. Like, I know a lot of adults probably think about him and see just some kind of failure. But when you see him in the act with the kids, it just puts him in a different light.
Once he met Ray, he's like starting to get more responsibilities. One of those responsibilities is that he's watching Ray's children, which was really sweet because his sister kind of spoke to him not really being a brother in the same way to her, I guess. So it was nice to see him actually interacting with these kids, and they loved him, and he clearly like rocked with them heavy. You kind of get the sense that he don't care about much, like even people. Yeah. So it was cool to see him interact with these kids and walk them to school, which is a very sweet thing to do.
They kind of made him do it. He absolutely did not want to do it by any means.
But in the beginning.
Yeah. There's a scene in the movie where Scott's friends attempt to rob like a pharmacy store to acquire more drugs to sell. Scott is supposed to be playing the lookout. They have a run-in with the owners of the pharmacy. Shit just gets crazy, man. One of the Scott's friends gets shot at one point. The husband and wife both had guns. They were shooting at these intruders.
Right. It wasn't even that type of robbery. Like
they weren't armed. Yeah. Now I'm not saying you ain't supposed to like protect your shit, but after the dude jumped on them and started punching the shit out of him, like he saw he ain't had no guns. They had no kind of plan whatsoever.
And nobody cased the joint. Nobody did no recon or nothing. Y'all just went in there.
Not to say there's a right way to do any of this.
Oh yeah, going and robbing.
But if you're gonna do it, you might as well like really, do it. Not that I would do it.
I'm guilty as nothing. I wouldn't rob anyone. I wouldn't do it, but if I was going to,
remember that OJ book?
Oh yeah,
I didn't kill him, but if I would have, wow, what a piece of shit,
bro. What? One of the other final scenes, I'll say, man, the shit with Action Bronson, bro.
Oh, yeah. Action Bronson was in here, man.
Scott is like looking over the firehouse while the firemen are out to a fire. Action Bronson stumbles up bleeding. He got like a big ass stab wound in his stomach.
And he keeps trying to like downplay it as if it's not that serious.
He's like, no, I'm good. Like, we need to get you to a hospital. He's like, no. Then he kept lying about what happened. He was like, yo, it's a misunderstanding. We still cool. Like.
But the key moment in that, when Ray and Scott met up with their mom, Scott's mom at the hospital, and they had blood all over their clothes, so she told them to take their shirts off. And she ended up seeing that Ray had been allowing Scott to practice tattooing his back. you got to see how close they had become over the time that they spent together in the firehouse. It was just a heartfelt moment for the mom and just everybody involved. I thought it was a cool scene.
Very much so.
King of Staten Island. I actually enjoyed this movie. This is probably one of my favorite movies of the year so far, honestly. Due to the whole pandemic and shit, a lot of movies have been pushed back, so it's been a lot of delays and stuff. But of the movies that I've seen, like, I probably enjoyed this one. Not the most out of all the movies, but it's definitely up there for me. I'm gonna be honest. I can't think of one Judd Apatow movie that I didn't enjoy. Like, I really enjoy his movies, man. Overall, I think I'm gonna give King of Staten Island a 8.5 out of 10.
Cast was solid. The script was solid. It was funny. It was really funny. Also, very moving at parts as well. So, for me, overall, I'm going to give The King of Staten Island a 8. Definitely one of my favorite comedies of the year. Just was a pleasant surprise overall, man. Really good movie.
Thank y'all for tuning in to our review of The King of Staten Island. Hope y'all enjoyed that. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If y'all have any suggestions that you want to see reviewed by us, please feel free to drop a comment below.
If you guys have seen The King of Staten Island, please tell us what you think, because I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was probably one of the better movies of the year that I've seen so far. How you feel about Pete Davidson? Is that a deal breaker for you not to watch this movie? Because if so, I would advise against that. It's very good.
And does his face bother you? I'd like to know. All right, y'all. Take it easy.
Peace.
Apparently, people hate Pete Davidson. Did you know that?
I think he got like a Shia LaBeouf thing where like he be rebelling against Hollywood.
I think it's like similar to like the Brie Larson situation, because you know people hate Brie Larson too, and people even go so far as to say like she's a bad actress.
No,
and people also keep on talking about the Captain Marvel. Like Captain Marvel is not a good showcase of her acting ability.
Not at all.
It's like amnesia. It's like people completely disregard everything else or all bodies of work when people release like one theatrical thing that they don't like. It's weird.
That's how people are in general. When you do one thing one time, you did it all time. Like if I was late one time, yo, you always late. Like, no, what? I'm not always late. What are you talking about? I'm a very punctual person. But that's how people are, man. Do one bad movie, goddamn, bitch, can't act.